Yeah, so the downside is I have to follow the highest stakes trailer. The upside is I'm pretty amped up after that. That was actually really cool. I think I've been waiting on it like everyone else forever. It seems like, I remember Richard guessing about it. Remember when he was talking about it was going to come out in 2020, or trying to help everyone settle down. It's going to come out in 2023. And like, oh no, 2023. And then we saw what happened. PulseChain, and it eventually came out. Now we're like, 2023-ish or 2024. We'll see. Anyways, I guess now it's time. I'm Max. Known as the RHMax Maximalist. Following Richard for 6 years now. Got a YouTube channel, I produce content. And one of the reasons I decided to start doing it was I saw the man, I saw the mission, I saw one of the values, Scivive, the books he's made, and hopefully will get published at some point, and just the ability to be a force for good in the world. And I was like, that seems like something I want to support. That's something I want to get into. I was early in crypto, perfect passive mentor when I came across him, and it's just been exciting. I mean, I was following Richard before Hex, CFD token times, if any old timers are heard about that. And then, once he started doing PulseChain, I was like, all right, let's grow this into something that's just amazing and just will dominate DeFi. I truly believe that. I think that he's building these products that rely on validators and all the boring network equipment that people have been setting up recently that I've been really actively into that I want to talk about today as well. And my journey with that. So I'll spend a few minutes on that. Is there any Ethereum validators or any PulseChain validators in the house? Any validators at all? Or any network? A couple. Okay. All right. There's one on board who didn't raise his hand, but I think he's going to be okay. Thank you. Working on it. In progress. If you're in progress, you can answer too. Yeah. I was like, I think there's at least one other. Yeah. So that's something that being in tech for a long time has really interested me, and I thought Richard talked about have utility in the community. How can you do that? Well, what skills do you have? What can you bring? Can you create content? Can you create music? Can you create art? Can you onboard people, spread the message, outbound messaging? He's talked about a lot of that too. But if you have certain skills, if you're a tech nerd, maybe you can figure out how to run a validator. And that was my journey. Started earlier this year, just doing Ethereum testnet, figuring out how this stuff works, figuring out, okay, how can I make this easier for people? How can I have another utility in the community other than creating content, other than doing security stuff and all that? So I went through that. A few other people in the community have created automated scripts to help you set up validators. You can earn, let me start with that real quick. What is a validator? You're running a server, it's helping decentralize the network, you're earning fees, you're earning priority fees and network fees and all that stuff. You're keeping it online, you're using your own hardware, you're going to the cloud, lots of different options. But what's cool about it is they have dashboards and graphs and stuff like that. You can see yourself earning, passive income. You can call it however you want. You're earning fees over time. And maybe the pulse price is where it is right now. We're sitting at sack rate. Last I checked, I'm trying not to say too often. If you believe it'll go up over time, not financial advice of any sort. None of this content is. But if you believe in the project over time, if you run the numbers, it's kind of hard. It's based on the APY, based on how many validators you run, based on your equipment investment, monthly fees. But if you believe it'll go up over time, it could be a profitable investment. It could not be. You got to run the numbers yourself. But that's one of the most exciting parts of being a PulseChain validator is you are running the network. You do the work. That's like one of Richard's favorite phrases. You do the work. I'm not going to do anything. I can be the architect. I can have all this stuff that's totally non-managerial effort in any way, all that stuff too. But the community has to come around and build this stuff and make sure it works. And we're going to see a ton more projects launch on PulseChain. The first step was getting the validators running. We had some Genesis ones, 4,000, so there's about 20,000. I actually checked earlier today, 20,000 validators online. That's not 20,000 servers. You can have 1 or 100 validators on each server, but that's 20,000 different pieces of the network running, all from the community. Because there was 4,000 to kickstart the network, bootstrap it. Those have exited, those are gone. So it is literally a community-run project now. And that's just something that's been around 3, 4, 5 weeks. It's amazing. And I think it's just a testament to how this thing was designed and where it's going in the future. It's set up a platform for Hex, it's the network that runs these things. And PulseChain, PulseX, all the stuff coming out. There's just so much to be excited about. Forget about I don't even, depending on where you bought X, all the stuff, you can have all the arguments of, and just look down and be like, oh, what's happened to my bags? They fell on the ground, and are they ever going to get back up? But if you truly believe in the system, you believe in the mission, you believe in what Richard's here for and what he's about and what I've seen him do over the years, I think it's glory. I think he's here to do great things. I think he wants to be remembered as a great man. And that's the magic carpet ride. That's not a rug pull. That's what it's supposed to be. So if you want to be a validator, you can ask me questions here. I've got a Q&A in just a second. I have all the scripts to make it super easy. There's other community-led scripts as well. If you go to tinyurl.com, I can give you the information if you want to ask me afterwards. tinyurl.com/govalidate is a shortcut to get to my GitHub repo. Got blogs around it. This is my, I was joking earlier, this is my 22nd AMA, Validator AMA. I did 21 online already, so if you want to go through and peruse the 10 or 20 hours of content that's already there, that's there too on my YouTube channel. But yeah, I do AMAs, I'm going to continue doing those. But yeah, I literally just helped the gentleman set up his validator. If you do need to have a little bit of tech experience, but we try to make it as easy as possible with automation and have the hardware, get Linux set up, and then run the software, make your deposit, and you can participate in the greatest network on earth, in my opinion. So that's all I got as far as that goes. Again, blog, I have a lot more detailed information, but any questions, any thoughts, anything you're wondering about validating? Yes, sir.
Yeah, so how do validators decentralize the network? And is there any functionality that has been implemented by Richard Hart and his dev team?
So the question is, how do the validators decentralize the network? Is there any other features that haven't been implemented or coming up?
Or plan to implement, for example, sort of second part of the decentralization, is there going to be any sort of voting functionality for the validators to vote what changes get made to PulseChain network?
Yeah, I think that, so the network is run by the clients, and they are forks from the Ethereum clients. There's 4 different ones, and they've just been forked over. Some of the parameters have been changed early days in the testnet. That's why we had a testnet v4 that everyone's like, I don't know, I thought v3 was the last one. v4 was changing some of the network parameters to make it more lucrative for validators to participate. And after I first started doing validating, I was like, I just want a community service here. And after it got 1,000x or something, I was like, oh, well, there's some money to be made here too, actually. That's pretty cool. So how they decentralize the network, it's just them running globally in different places. They can't be shut down. If they're running in Africa and Europe and America and maybe Antarctica one day, I think we're on 6 continents right now. Then it's just, it's decentralized. There's no one button to shut it off as long as the internet's still running, meteor doesn't hit, all the imaginary world, all that stuff. Is there any, as far as governance goes, I thought about it too, will there be hard forks coming up?
Not to put on the spot, I'm just curious, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it'd
be nice to be able to vote for what type of changes get implemented in PulseChain. I know right now it's very centralized with Dad's behind Richard Hart, but I'm wondering if at some point in time it's going to, make it so Ethan is when we call, it's us, people.
Well, those have actually exited. So that's what I was saying earlier. There was 4,096 Genesis validators, which were bootstrapping the network. Those have actually exited as of maybe a few days or a week ago. So those aren't on the network anymore. So we had, I guess that would make us have close to 24,000 or so validators. We went down to 19K and around 20K today because those validators exited. So as far as I know, at least publicly known, there is no dev validators anymore. There's no governance or ability to change the network based on that. As far as that goes, there could be in the future hard forks. There could be parameter changes and stuff. That's based on the people running the network. So there could be contentious or not hard forks in the future of PulseChain. There could be, PulseChain. It could be hard forks, soft forks in the future. That depends on the people running the network if they want to participate or not. That's the decentralization part. So as far as that goes, fairly decentralized and up to the community based on what they want to do with it. But good question.
Is S-load a function of the validators, or is that totally independent?
No, so S-load is a contract function, part of that code. So that's, the famous reason you're probably bringing it up is because it makes it more expensive for certain transactions and stuff. So that is part of the EVM, all the contract code. So not actually has to do with any of the software you're running as far as the validating goes. So not to do with that, it's just a contract EVM function that can be expensive, as we found out after ending tax stakes went up after some Ethereum stuff got implemented.
Where does it live on, how did we differentiate that? You said it's in the smart contract, so it's just a simple change in the smart contract on the PulseChain side?
Well, it's It's so Hex, got forked, put on PulseChain. It's running the same type of EVM as Ethereum 2.0. S-load is just a function that some contracts need to run. I mean, I don't know the technicals behind running and stuff, but it's just something that contracts will need to run for certain functionality, one of which pertains to the Hex contract for, I think ending stakes or like counting up the days or something like that. I forget the exact details. But it's part of the contract, part of the EVM, not part of the clients which run the network. All right, I tried to
Super helpful.
give you a little bit there, but yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know anywhere to go and see good client diversity metrics for PulseChain? So we know like how many Aragon versus Gad versus Prism and Lighthouse?
It's a good question. So the question is where to look for the different clients to see if people, how many servers are running different clients of Aragon. So there's 4 different clients.
Aragon's a pain. I'm guessing there's less of that.
Yeah, my script sets up Geth or GPLS, we haven't renamed yet, and Lighthouse. But yeah, there's Geth, Lighthouse, Aragon, and Prism. So yeah, interesting. I don't know if, I know you can go to look at the map on, it's now gopulse.com, used to be pulseburn.com.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, you can go look at the map and see the distribution of validators set up. I haven't seen a place where you can see the client diversity, which there's got to be a place on ETH 2.0 to see that. Maybe we're just not pulling those stats. Maybe they'll be added to the stat side.
Code that can be copied and added
Yeah.
pretty easy. Okay.
I haven't seen it yet, but no, I look forward to seeing more. And we just launched, so like all the things you haven't seen or like, oh, this doesn't work properly or whatever. It's a new network. Things will get better. Like that's it's just I think PulseX, a lot of features aren't there. For example, people are like, oh, where's the single-sided staking? I think they'll be rolled out over time, kind of as a plan. Speculate from Richard to be like, oh, it's exciting new features coming out every 2 or 3 weeks or something like that. So I would think that would make sense.
Pretty good viable product though, right?
It is an MVP. That's what I say. Like everyone's like, oh, things are not single-sided staking's out there. All these features out there. I'm like, we launched the network. Would you rather not launch the network? Would you rather mid-May 2024? Like I'm okay with it being launched, and let's add the features afterwards.
Yeah, most people have never been this early to anything.
No, it's exactly. I wish I was that early to Ethereum. Maybe I'm trading some of that for PulseChain at this point. Not financial advice. Any other questions?
What do you know about the potential rocket pool fork? How would that affect like the current validators?
That's a very timely question because I talked to Synergy today about. I asked him a question about that in Telegram, which I think he's okay with me talking about too. Because the question was, the person asked me about would there be Infura, because Synergy, Alex and Hedron is working on data center stuff, and all these different projects. Rocket Pool is one of them. And someone asked about if there's a way on validators to, when you're pruning, when you're doing maintenance, to not get penalized or not have downtime and stuff. And you can, apparently, I didn't know this, you can point it to maybe Infura or whatever fork we may have in order to avoid penalties. So, and Alex talked about that they were, that was happening, that was going on. As far as Rocket Pool though, I heard him talk about that other than the tweets he had about it. But it seems like he's got this laundry list of projects and seems fairly serious about them. And I hope that this year will be another year of Alex. Last year we had Hedron and Icosa. Hopefully we'll keep getting these projects. Rocket Pool would be like pooling your validators. Very successful project on Ethereum. Being able to give PLS in order to get people to host them for you, and it just makes the whole process not you being a tech person putting it in your home, although there's plenty of benefits to that. But if you just want to kind of offload that, Rocket Pool can help. Pulse Pool, whatever you guys got, Alex Pool, I don't know. But it'll be great, whatever it is. That guy feels winning stuff. Yeah. Any other questions, anybody?
Just a follow-up. So the validators would be their choice to pool their validators with the Rocket Pool?
Yeah, so I haven't used it on Ethereum. What I understand it working is, I think it's basically, I feel like it's kind of like a delegated proof of stake, what we were going to do with the BSC fork before we went to ETH 2.0. So it's kind of like you're giving it to a pool, you're pooling this Pulse to feed validators, to earn fees from that in a pool type thing. But I haven't participated myself, so I wish I could go through like a little step on this is how it all works. But yeah, I think it's just this kind of just validating as a service sort of deal. But hopefully in a more trustless way. I think it's been pretty successful, but I definitely want to dig into it. I'm gonna, hopefully he comes back on the channel sometime, I get a good interview with him. I'd love to talk to him about that. Yes.
Just a lot of these projects are sort of, this thing exists on Ethereum and we're gonna try to do it on Pulse. What about do you know of any projects that don't really exist on Ethereum that we're hoping to bring to Pulse to actually change the ecosystem and bring something new?
There's a lot of forks that are hopefully launching this year. Like Lone Power City, the whole Fiat famous PHUX forks, affectionately called, or maybe that's how it's pronounced, I don't know. A lot of these, being the banking products, these borrowing programs, I mean PHUX is actually something I've been interested in recently because of the yield farming on PulseX, and it's a balancer fork which allows you to do multiple coins of liquidity pool, blah blah blah. But anyways, the project's launching. I feel like the community's actually did a pretty good job of looking what has been successful on Ethereum and taking that to PulseChain. Not everything is launched yet, but I think what Liquidity protocol, I think that'll be used in liquid loans and also Power City, it sounds like, for the borrowing and minting stable coins for PLSX and PLS. And then I'm trying to think, I think Aave is a fiat fork of Aave, I believe. So there's all these like successful projects like that. Rocket Pool fork is you mentioned as well that is coming at some point from Alex. I'm trying to think there's other, I'm sure there's probably there was a Pulse hot list thing that had 130 plus projects. Don't know if all of them are forking popular Ethereum things, but I would check out a list of those types of things to see what is coming out. But I don't know if everything has been forked yet. There's still maybe meat on the bones as far as innovative stuff that people haven't figured out how to do correctly yet. Or maybe it has oracles and it's like Chainlink, it's hard to do because it's kind of like they have the first mover advantage and they have all the access to all the information, all the stuff like that. So they kind of, it's hard to replicate that on PulseChain, but I suspect we'll see a lot of the popular sacks launch this year. And then that's just the people who were hexagons mostly in that, and the people who found out about PulseChain. We haven't even brought in all the devs who have been in other ecosystems, maybe BSC people come over, maybe Polygon people who are building stuff like that. So not just Ethereum, I think other platforms, other blockchains that have successful projects, we may see them come over to PulseChain now that we're incentivizing them, pun intended, on incentive token for yield farming. We have validating, we have the higher APR, I didn't mention that. Ethereum is like 4% APR for validators. We're at 22, 23, 24%. So a lot of attractive things to bring devs over. So yeah, I suspect we'll see a lot more cool forks and hopefully legit projects come over to PulseChain. We don't have a lot of concrete. I can't wait for this stuff other than the most popular ones right now. Any other questions?
There's also Tetra, which I don't think has been on any other chip.
Yeah, that's kind of a new thing.
That's a good point. It's called Tetra, and that is
Automation for
DeFi automation. You can basically connect different products to different blockchains, and so for example, this is,
advertises functions.
yeah, instead of like clicking buttons manually, you can get it to click buttons.
It's like visual programming, it's like connect the blocks.
That's part of it, yeah, the Atlas piece. I remember.
I mean, that, it's just like.
Doesn't exist yet.
This block.
Well, actually, there's a similar. It's not a fork. Yeah, that's true. The key point about Tetra is it's not a fork, but there is a similar product on Ethereum. I can't remember the name.
Much more limited though.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so there's even new pieces of things that aren't forks that are launching on PulseChain too, which is shout out to Tetra. They're excited about that project too. Good point.
Yeah, something exciting.
Any other questions? Wrap up. All right. Thank you very much.